So we can form particles in the lab, like with super colliders. Does that mean we can make matter in a lab? Yes, we can make matter in a lab. In fact, that's how we have made antimatter. For all we know, the most antimatter that exists is, well, in labs right here on Earth. The way you do that is by smashing shit together again. You run particles in a particle accelerator to create high-energy collisions. And those collisions create particle-antiparticle pairs. Then you separate those antiparticles using high-powered magnetic field. And then you smash those antiparticles together, and sometimes they stick, and you get new antimatter. You do the same thing with matter, too. Sometimes you create new atoms by smashing two smaller atoms together. But the important thing here is you are still conserving mass and energy. These new particles, this new matter, isn't coming from nowhere. You are dumping a ton of energy into these particle colliders. You are harnessing a truly ludicrous amount of energy just to get, like, one atom of antihydrogen. And some of that energy that you're putting into making the particles go at high speeds around the collider track is essentially being converted into these new particles and the new atoms that they create. We're essentially just doing mass energy exchange. But it is such a tiny bit of that energy. It is not an efficient process. We lose a lot of that energy just to heat and stuff like that. You gotta remember, the amount of electrical energy used to do one LHC experiment, I think, was roughly equivalent to the amount of energy that it takes to power New York for 1 year. That's a lot of energy. So often when I say we can convert energy to mass and mass to energy, people are like, why don't we just create new matter all the time? That's why. Because the whole power consumption of New York just to create a couple of atoms, and that's not a good exchange rate. And that's why in sci-fi stories where they have things like matter replicators, they always have some ludicrous source of energy, like a Dyson sphere that can just harness all the solar energy coming out of a star or something like that. But even then, you're not creating matter out of nothing, you're creating it out of the energy the star is giving you. And that energy is finite. Eventually, that star burns out and dies. You can never get something for nothing.